this is our great segue into how we move forward.
Yes.
So, just wrapping up how we're
Yeah,
discussing about guns right now.
Thank you for hanging out this
Yes.
long as you've been here.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
But it's an in-depth subject with a lot of factors. You know,
Yes.
we said that from the beginning. There's not just one solution. There's a lot of factors involved, underlying factors, and really, it's healing the underlying factors that is going to actually fix it. You know, coming down to you had to wait 2 days to get a gun. That's like the last resort situation. There's 100 things we could have done. What we really need to talk about right now is how do we move forward from here in a constructive, positive way on the issue of guns? What can an individual person do right now in their life to be healthier about this subject, to understand things better and more clearly, to move forward in a better direction? What can we advocate for to heal the situation?
Guns should be a last resort. Any type of violence, physical violence in any way, shape, or form should be a last resort.
Absolutely.
You have failed yourself if you are unable to use your words to diffuse a situation or express your frustration in a situation that would internally would inevitably escalate into you need to be violent. I have been in plenty of situations where I have been the receiver of aggression and have been accepting to the understanding of the person's frustration as the aggressor. I don't have to be violent just because somebody's being violent onto me. That doesn't make me look weak. As a matter of fact, that probably makes me look a lot stronger to a person who's lost themselves and is putting me up against the wall because of their frustration.
I just made a post about that recently, that composure is a greater expression of strength than lashing out
Yep.
in a tough situation, because it takes more strength to stay composed and not just give in to being frustrated and upset.
You're almost better off for that, because sometimes those people who are left, the person who is the aggressor on you that you inevitably don't become violent with, almost immediately has to self-reflect on why it was that the situation happened. And you almost potentially teach that person a lesson for that, because it's now I'm the bad guy. And then that's, why do I feel like I'm the bad guy now? What did I do? Because I'm the only one who's lashing out irrationally. We just need to stop being violent. I really think that is the foundation. But it's also, why are we being violent? Where is that coming from?
Well, being able to see, if you're in a situation and somebody is lashing out at you. So A Course in Miracles teaches that people act for two reasons. They either act as an expression of love, or they act as a cry for love, right? And so if you're, learn how to see that in people. Like if somebody's lashing out at you for whatever reason, it's really them wanting to be loved. For whatever reason, they're not feeling loved, and they're having to put up walls and boundaries and things like that to create that, to try to protect themselves and block themselves off from experiencing that love that they so desperately need. So, my advice would be, just in any of your interpersonal reactions, no matter what. I literally had somebody, yell at me about a month ago for about an hour, because they were upset that I was out doing my own thing. They were afraid. They basically thought I was Typhoid Mary and I was going to kill everybody because I had COVID. And no, seriously.
He didn't have COVID. He's saying that was their fear that he would spread it.
Right.
Yes.
And she literally yelled at me for about an hour. And I felt, I didn't agree with her. Like, I knew that I was healthy, but I felt really loved, because I knew that the reason she was attacking me was because she cared about me. She just had a different set of beliefs than I did, right? And so I think if we can learn how to just step in other people's shoes, that goes a long way. I would also say, take care of yourself. Make sure that you're physically healthy. do what you can to be as emotionally and psychologically whole as possible. And if you do end up getting into a situation like that, that's going to serve you way more than whether you have a weapon or not in your disposal. I will also say that if you do own a gun, learn how to use it, learn how to use it expertly. The more confident you are with it, the less likely that you're going to think that you need it.
Right.
It's sort of like we talked about, a couple weeks ago about the really, really confident person that really knows his stuff is just going to know that he's safe and is going to project that confidence and is going to be able to diffuse a situation peacefully much more efficiently than somebody that doesn't have that confidence. So if you do want to use a gun, make sure that you get training with it. I don't own a gun because I don't want to put in the effort to get training, and I don't want to be in a situation where I would have one and use it recklessly. So that's the personal stance that I've taken for myself.
I would say there's a need for people to put themselves in difficult situations. Ann and I had this great conversation as we were sitting on the edge of what was at least maybe a 20-30 foot cliff down. This was in the Badlands. And it was something because I was sitting with her with this revelation that a lot of people don't put themselves in dangerous situations for themselves. And I don't mean like, I'm going to jump in front of a crossfire. What I mean is sitting on the edge of a building that stands 3 stories up. How often have you done that? Have you done that? Are you terrified of doing that? What are you afraid of to reconnect? Anyway, the question is why do you not put yourself in situations that challenge the feelings and things that you are afraid of? Why do you not challenge your fear? Because if you don't challenge your fears, you don't know who you are. Therefore, you don't know how you're going to react when you get into a situation where these fears are invoked. So if you don't know your fears, you're just as dangerous as a person with a gun. Right. Because if you happen to be around a situation where you have a gun and you're afraid and you don't know what that feels like and what that's like, you could inadvertently kill somebody.
Or exacerbate the situation.
Because you don't know yourself. I come from skateboarding as a kid. I came from skateboarding and as an adult. I have put myself in more dangerous situations on my own and by myself than I've ever been with other people. For the specific reason of, I know myself. I understand who I am and my capability. So I am better equipped to be around and in situations where most people might feel uncomfortable. But that's because I've done that. And it is our responsibility as people to put ourselves in those situations so that we can be okay and understand what we can do and our capabilities and our limits so that you know where your center is. How can you know your center if you don't know where your edge is? You don't know. So, yeah, that was something that I think for me is, that's my end.
I'd like to put out there that a lot of it comes down to a heightened sense of awareness. So, for example, being aware of the people around you who are isolating, are acting out of sorts, and just offering to be there for them can, just all you have to do is be aware enough of the people around you to say, hey, are you okay? Can I help you? So that they don't continue to feed a dark and isolated mental path in themselves that takes them to these darker places, that makes them feel like they can't connect with the people around them, can't solve their problems the way we normally do with talking. So just be aware of the people around you to enough to show love to people who need it and hear them. Actually hear what they're saying and don't impose what you think they're going to say or think they're going through. Actually listen so that they can get that out of them too.
Listen to them.
Also, a heightened sense of awareness if you are a gun owner. Yeah. As I said, all 3 of the people that I have lost to suicide used a gun that was not registered in their own name. So do I think any amount of laws about gun registration are really going to change all that much? No. Because these people knew how to access a gun they didn't own. And even if it meant they had to break a lock or break into a closet once you own a gun, there are people around you who probably shouldn't have access to it. And you need to be aware. You need to have a greater sense of knowledge with those people.
Right.
Know their state of being. Know that they have access to help they need. I mean,
Don't be
it's
afraid
not
to
just
confront
you as a gun owner needing to know how to handle your gun. It's you as a gun owner being aware of how everybody else around you perceives your gun.
Yeah.
And that's hard because
That's a
you can't.
higher level of responsibility, like
It
being
is.
responsible for not just you, but for your entire orbit, right?
Right.
Yep.
It's not like they just left the gun laying out on the kitchen counter and somebody thought, oh, hey, I'm going to play with that.
Right.
That's not what happened. They acquired it, because they knew where it was, they knew
Right.
who had it, and they knew how to get their hands on it.
Yeah.
So, awareness in general, and of course, awareness of yourself. If you are struggling with anything, being aware that you can access help in other ways.
Right. I think any one of us would be more than happy to chit chat or
Please reach
whatever,
out.
whatever with.
If I can't help
anybody.
you, I can connect you with somebody
Mhm.
who can, most likely.
Yep.
So,
I think
have a
all
long list.
three of us have different modes or avenues that we use to kind of help people. I do a lot of emotional support work with people in my office as a body type practitioner. So anyway, there's just we and
I have a great ability to listen
yeah,
and just understand.
yep.
Yeah.
and of course, Christian worldview, I'll pray with you, I'll talk with you, but again, the Holy Spirit is your helper, not your doer. I'm still, I'm not just gonna say, one of the most annoying memes that goes around when people get really worked up about the gun discussion is they cross out they take the words like prayers and cross it out, and then they put like change laws. Because they're trying to say it has to be one or the other. I'm actually gonna be there and support you, to talk with you if you need help getting out of a bad situation, but I will also pray for you. It's not one or the other. It can
Right.
absolutely be both. I can both do things and pray for you at the same time. It's not a crazy concept.
I'd meditate on it and tell you to do the same. But it's okay, because
I know it's okay.
both
Different
yields
worldviews.
good results, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, but and I can connect you with people if you need it. So at the end of the day, we all just care about your well-being, our well-being,
We
everybody's
wouldn't be doing
well-being.
this if we didn't.
Right.
For
We want to
sure.
see
Yeah.
positive end
A
results.
society that can talk to itself can heal itself.
Yeah.
And
And we should be
this
we need to talk.
this is kind of a microcosm of that mission that that I
we need
guess
to talk
we've embarked on.
Yeah. So if you haven't yet, you should subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's set up and I'm putting work into it, so just humor me. Go check it out. Say
Support
hey,
us as best you can, because it's going to keep
And
going.
also subscribe to the Tuesday Talk Facebook page as
Yes.
well. Right now we've been doing it off of Anne's personal page and just tagging the two of us. But once those of you that enjoy our work and enjoy these talks and these hard conversations that we're having, all three of us, I don't think we convince each other about anything, right? But we understand each other better. We know where the other's coming from on a much more deeper level, and
There's
we
a
can see them
respect
as humans,
that is
right?
developed in that.
So if you enjoy this concept, eventually we're going to be broadcasting from the Tuesday Talks Facebook page. So make sure that you
Be exciting.
subscribe to that as well.
Yeah. The more the merrier, and it just gives everyone more access to information. It gives a wider scope of people who get to hear the conversation, and it probably invokes topics that you might not have been having at your own dinner table. And we're hoping that you have them at the dinner table, because that's where you need to have them. Not in front of the TV, eating food,
open that door.
shoveling food in your mouth while you watch your favorite shows. Sit at the table with your family and discuss this
Right.
stuff. Talk about it.
That
Find
hospitality.
ways.
Honestly, that kind of hospitality and just togetherness, that solves so much.
Yes.